Okay, well, hello again. My name is Sam Gaza from SG Angling, and today's musky tip is going to be focused on the beginner musky fisherman, somebody who's just getting started out. And one of the things that you might want to wonder is, what kind of lures am I going to start with if I'm just getting started out? And it's a good question, and it's a little bit overwhelming at times, I think, because there's so many different lure types and so many different lures out there. But what I've done for the sake of this video here is I have narrowed it down to 5 different lure groups that you're just going to want to focus on. You can get one of each lure group, or you could get 2. I'm going to present 2 different options so that you can at least have 10 lures in the bag to start with as you're taking your first few casts. So what are the 5 main lure groups, at least for the sake of this video? We've got topwater, that's the first. We've got spinner baits, glide baits, rubber, and crankbaits. So those are the 5 main, and I would say most lures would fall under that category or under those categories. So the first one is topwater, and one of the first types of topwaters you're going to want in your bag is a prop style topwater, like this river to sea whopper plopper. But there's so many different prop style baits out there. Lake X makes some, Joe Bucher makes the Top Raider. There's so many different obnoxious sounding topwaters for muskie. So you'll just want to fish this real slow. You want real slow kind of bubbling sound, and it's really meant for long bomb casts. The guy at the front of the boat's throwing it to try to stir things up and be really obnoxious. But then there's another type of topwater which is more your walk the dog style. This is a lil dock, and it's just kind of supposed to be kind of walked back and forth. You're not supposed to necessarily long bomb this lure. It's really more for kind of throwing it up against structure or working it in and out of current if you're fishing a river, or even in and out of like a fallen tree or a rock crevice. Just trying to get this, work it slowly right into these areas and allow the muskies to kind of, come up and hit it if they're a little bit more stagnant that day. The other type, and I think it's probably the most popular type of lure for muskie, is a bucktail. And there's so many types of bucktails. I mean, it probably wouldn't hurt to have at least a couple, but one of the ones you're going to want to start with is I would suggest a single bladed bucktail, something that's small. Smaller, more subtle baits oftentimes will get all types of fish to commit to it. You won't get as many follows, you get more commits with the smaller baits a lot of times. So this is a number 5 fluted Indiana blade. We have a little Mr. Twister on the end of it, super flashy, kind of has a big feel in the water. Joe Bucher makes this, and it's called the Tinsel Goldilocks. It's the 500 series, so really great thing to have in your bag, and it's really inexpensive. It's only like 14-15 bucks. And then a long arm spinner bait. The long arm spinner baits are really good. They're underutilized in the musky fishing world, but you can really slow roll these because there's 2 blades, one behind the other. This is a number 7 fluted Indiana and a number 6 Colorado. A little trailer hook, as you can see, with a grub on the end of it. And this is just kind of something different to throw at the muskies. Lots of success on this over the years, and this is the Foxfire. This is the one that my grandfather designed and created. So this particular lure has a special place in my heart because it's in the family. The third type of lure is the glide bait, and the glide bait is pretty cool because you don't necessarily need more than one of them. There's so many different types of glide baits out there, and a lot of them are very similar. And you really can't go wrong with the Phantom glide baits. This is a very flashy one called the Heat Wave, but this is a 6-inch. They make a bigger one, but there's also a smaller 6-inch one. You can throw this all times of the year. When it's spring, when it's fall, when it's summer, and it's got a lot of good action and a really cool tail on it too. So you can get that, but if you want to spend a little extra money, you can get Joe Bucher's Glide Raider, and I have not seen yet a glide bait that has more side-to-side action than this. So it's a little bit of a bigger presentation. Kind of looks like a torpedo, sort of. So glide baits are really good, especially when the muskies are not hitting any other type of lure. They're stagnant, maybe it's post-cold front, and they will often follow and strike those when they won't follow or strike any other type of lure. The 4th type, and it's becoming a lot bigger of a category within lures these days, is rubber. you're going to want a straight mono retrieve and then more of a pull pause. So the more of the pull pause, you can use like a Medusa, and a Medusa could be straight retrieved. You can't go wrong there, but it's more of a pull pause, like in post frontal conditions where you're trying to let it drop into certain areas, and then you pull it. Also in the cold water periods in late fall and also early spring too. So pull pause, and you'll often get a lot of muskie striking these. They're a little bit of a newer type of design, something that Chaos Tackle makes called the Medusa. They make it in all different sizes. This is the mini, but you can also get them in much larger as well. Then you have the straight mono retrieve. This is also from Chaos Tackle, and this is called the Poseidon. This is the 10-inch. They make a 12-inch as well, and you can get any sort of paddle tail really that's large is a great option. I know they have the Shallow Dog too by Musky Innovations. But these are great because the tail waves back and forth, and then you get kind of a little bit of a body roll to it, and these can be thrown all times of the year. Really great action. Caught some fish on these as well this year. And then the last type of category is the crankbaits, and this is where it could get overwhelming because there's probably more musky crankbaits out there than any lure type, because so many people are making them. But they have a little bit of a deeper running crankbait. You can get a Joel Bucher depth raider. That's a great option. They also have Storm, makes a lot of good crankbaits. This is a very bright, flashy, you can hear this rattling back and forth, holographic paint on the side of it, and it runs down pretty deep, 7-8 feet. So if you're looking for kind of a mid-depth, this works as well. And then you have your more kind of shallow, smaller crankbaits, and you really can't go wrong with a Joe Bucher Shallow Raider. This is such a great lure, has great action, runs about 4 feet deep. And then something that's a little bit less expensive that you can get too, overlooked, kind of a lure of the past, is Rapala's Super Shad, or Rapala's Super Shad. And this is a little bit of a smaller lure, but it can be used in weeds, it can be used in cover, it can be used in shallow flats, or even in deep water. I mean, you control this lure. It's so versatile, and they sell it everywhere. You can find it in Dick's and Bass Pro Shops and Field and Stream. It's just one of those great kind of small, subtle lures, but man, is it good and it's effective. So I hope you found this helpful. Again, if you're looking for some Christmas ideas coming up, those 5 main lure groups are ones that you're going to want to start with, at least if you're just getting into musky fishing. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and comment below. Also, if you could support the channel and hit the subscribe button, that would be awesome. If you're just getting into musky fishing, good luck and tight lines, and I hope you catch a lot of fish. So thanks again for tuning in today, and we'll see you next time.